Previously on Chief Concerns.
I played under 4 of those 5 guys. I had Sean McDermott, Sean Payton, Harbaugh, and Andy. So I'm just looking at it. When you see the list, I was just like, wow. Everything they were young guys when they was coming to the league, man. I had them all in Philly.
I mean, I think it's based off what Orlando does as a player. You know, every year there's one player that comes out and surprises the market at what they get. You know, and then it's like everybody else is sitting in this category of wanting to get paid in that, you know, that top 5.
It's the corner where the treats at.
Is this the passing of the torch, right? Is this what this signifies?
It comes down to that front office and what they feel is most important.
The champ is here. We've touched down from a higher plane. Why you made it here?
We always look forward to that week because it was always intense.
You know that we ain't coming back. We about to.
The man, the myth, the legend, Dante Hall. My favorite player growing up was Dante Hall. I love you guys in the show, but Dante was my guy.
Get to dashing because you done on the warfield.
This episode of Chief Concerns is brought to you by BetOnline.AG. The month of June is heating up with a ton of exciting sports action, and BetOnline is where you can find it. From basketball and hockey playoffs to baseball's marquee matchups, including prop bets and futures. BetOnline has all the latest odds, news, and information for all your online sports betting needs. Visit the website today or use your mobile device to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. So before the next tip-off, face-off, or pitch, head on over to BetOnline and start playing today. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. Hey guys, another episode of Chief Concerns. And I gotta say, JD, I love the Space Jam shirt that's coming out in a couple of weeks. I think it's next week, right?
I think next week. Yeah, I'm excited. Watch my boy LeBron in it. LeBron, and you know, we got Damian Lillard, the Brown. It should be pretty fun, man. You know, I enjoyed the first Space Jam, so
I might watch it.
Huh?
I might watch it.
Oh man!
But I heard they got Klay Thompson in it, so yeah, I'll probably watch it.
That'll be the first time we've seen him in action in a long time, man.
Yeah.
True.
But the way they're doing the aliens this year, it's like robots, right? Like it's Clay, Dame, and the Brown. I forget who the other two are. But they're like robots.
Klay Thompson was one.
It's Thompson, Dame, and Brown. Who the other two?
I don't know. It's a good question. I had to look
Yeah,
that up.
got it ready.
But Dame and Clay's a good one too. So that team will be set.
But they got the man in here, so you know.
No, they got the man in the first one.
All right, they say MJ's making a cameo in this one. He's gonna make a little appearance in this one.
Who?
Michael Jordan will be making a little appearance.
Who?
The GOAT.
Oh, okay.
Now, JD, you're a LeBron fan, but you're not one of those who says that LeBron's the best of all time compared to Jordan, or do you still see Jordan as the best of all time?
Me or JD? JD's 100% LeBron.
Look, I'm a huge LeBron fan. I am. But I think in the conversation of saying the best of all time, I think Jordan still get that nod. Yeah. So if we had to do right now, okay, real quick, E, give me your top 5 guys right now starting. It don't have to be, just give me your 5 right now.
My 5?
Your 5, yes.
Okay, so there's my 5 is going to play into likability also. So it's just I'm taking Mike.
Okay.
I'm taking Shaq.
All right.
I got to put LeBron in.
Okay.
I got to throw Steph in.
Okay.
And right now, it's hard for me to leave out like Tim Duncan or like, damn. I'm gonna go ahead and go with Tim Duncan.
Okay.
Because I'm leaving out Kobe if I don't.
Mm.
I'm a Kobe fan. It's hard for me to leave Kobe out.
Right. Okay. Right. So
But when you add Mike and you got Steph, you can't really add Kobe. Because LeBron's gonna be your point guy. That's what he basically is.
So you would put Steph over Kobe?
Likability on my part. That's what I said.
I got you. Okay. I got you. All right.
But overall, just picking a top 5, I can't put Steph over Kobe. No. Okay. But for like my team, me to put a team together, I'd have to put Steph in. I gotta put Steph in the starting lineup. I don't care who, what the argument is.
He just got to be there for you.
Oh, no matter what, yeah.
Who's your starting 5, JD?
Ooh, so that all right. Starting 5. I had to go with Jordan. I'm going with LeBron. I'm going with Bird. I'm going with Hakeem Olajuwon, Dream.
Yeah.
Got to go with the Dream.
Yeah.
Got to go with, soccer feet, shake you up. And then I had to maybe, we're just doing 5. So I got Hakeem, Jordan, Bird, LeBron. Man, I got to go with Kobe. I have to. I love to have Mr. Fundamental in there too, Tim Duncan. You know what I mean? I would. But if I had to put an all-star team, that'd be my 5 right
Okay, so hear me out on this here.
All right.
No disrespect to the older guys. I love Bird. Bird is amazing to me. Like, I will always bring him up in like one of the baddest boys I've ever seen play.
Yeah.
It's hard to pick with guys that have come out lately. Even with Olajuwon, all the skills he had, man, I pushed Shaq in his prime. I just can't see nobody stopping him, even Wilt Chamberlain with his 100 points. All due respect to him, all due respect to Kareem. Like, Shaq in his prime was just nasty. Like,
true, unstoppable force. But
yeah.
He comes in, see, and I guess you could do the same with LeBron, talking about his free throw shooting. But if you foul him, right, you fouling him, getting him out of there. I think Olajuwon, man, actually gave Shaq the business when Shaq was in his prime. So that's what I'm looking at. So
and it was back. I think it was back and forth.
Yeah, I had to look at that. But I know, Hakeem, when I watched him and that dream shake, shoot, come on, man, soccer feet. Couldn't find anybody better. And Shaq, look, Shaq is the dominant force. He'd get my nod on the second team, the second 5 for me. You know what I mean? So that's how I look at it. But he's a dominant force. But see, people will say that he's not as good as Wilt. They just say that. I don't know.
Oh.
I know it is, but.
So on the top centers of all time, you go Shaq, Hakeem, David Robinson, Ewing, or what would you guys go on your top 5?
No, I got to put Kareem at 3.
You got
and then people will argue that with Kareem being at 3 because, a lot of people don't see Shaq as talented. He doesn't have the skill set because all he did was he was just a dominant force. You just throw it in the paint, he's just going to turn around and dunk it on anybody.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the naysayers, professional beat writers, whatever, they don't like putting him in the top 3. So I think the top 3 have always been like Kareem, Wilt Chamberlain, Hakeem, not in that particular order, but just those 3.
Right.
And then, they like to throw in Bill Russell, especially for what he's done in his career of achievements. So, but me, I'm taking Shaq over all that.
I hear you. Hey, man, he's a force in the middle, no doubt about it. But like I said, man, I think Hakeem gave him the business. Shoot, not only just Hakeem, Kareem.
David Robinson was even nice.
David Robinson was nice, no doubt. See, and I could take even like Hakeem couldn't even go like power forward because, Ralph Sampson was a center, when he first got down there at Houston. And then when he left, he became the center then. But yeah, that's I don't know. That's a good 5. Likability. I like how you say that. Likability. You know, you got to stick with your guns. You got to stick with them.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that my 5 is better than what the majority would pick as a starting 5. That's just my 5.
Right.
Yeah, and Steph's different. I mean, you can't really can't compare another point guard in all time to him. So yeah, that I don't see anything wrong with Steph being in that top 5 or in your 5. Okay, so we talked.
What you doing? What you say? No.
That's his boy.
Listen, look. Okay, point guards. All right. Okay, maybe the nostalgia. Look, I'm talking about AI. I'm talking about Isaiah.
AI can't do what that boy does.
Man, AI. Come on.
We're talking about handles.
Handles.
Handles. He came out. He had a nice crossover. I give AI, and he was a threat at scoring. Nobody plays the game stretches the court like Steph Curry, man.
Do you think he benefits? Okay, let me ask you this question, right? And I'll end the discussion. Do you think he benefits though off the offense, how they run everything now, right? It's not as physical game as it used to be back then, so it's different. You know what I mean? So I think all that him running through the paint and all that, couple clotheslines here.
For who?
Yeah, Steph run through the paint a couple times.
Yeah, you gotta go through the paint.
No, I'm saying, you know how he runs through. You know, he's always running off a pick. He always cutting through.
It's the same thing that Reggie Miller did. Reggie Miller did it his whole career. So why couldn't he?
All right, let Karl Malone catch him with one of them big old country elbows coming through there. Dislocate that.
So you're gonna put him down for one shot. You're gonna put him down for one shot. JD, it's a professional sports for a reason. You hope that they would have some type of decency. And if you want to bring that up to say that he would have to go in the paint to deal with those, the guys back in those days couldn't even handle his handles to try to stop him at any given point. And AI was the same way. AI just can't shoot the 3 like Steph.
Man, have you watched basketball in the last 25 years?
What am I missing?
Tim Hardaway. You're talking about AI. We're talking about people who had handles. Steph is nothing new as far as having handles now. Steph is okay. He's in the area where he's in, but there's always been guys that have handles in the NBA. You know what I mean? That ain't changed. That ain't never changed. So you could go.
So what are you trying to tell me right now, though?
I'm saying, you know, what he's doing is not unique to him. He's a great shooter. He has great handles, but I do believe that he benefits off what the game is played today. Now, look, I'm a Steph Curry fan. Don't get me wrong. I'm not hating on Steph, man. To me, I think he's a great point guard. He's one of the best. I love Steph. I do. I love him. I'm just saying that because of the way the game is played today, some of the things that he does now, he wouldn't be able to get away with back then. That's my argument. No. That's it. That's all.
Too talented.
He's talented. Yeah, I love him. I love his talent.
All right. Well, I love the NBA talk here, but we're gonna fast forward to.
We're not already wasting 20 minutes on this NBA stuff.
Hey man, it's finals week. You know, we're gonna get caught up in that.
Yeah, you want to edit some of this out, so yeah.
But so this week, obviously, you know, things are, you know, as we get closer to training camp, we're starting to see different storylines play out. And this week, our first concern, athletic writer Nate Taylor wrote that he expects Mecole Hardman to assume the role of the number 2 wide receiver position heading into training camp. Many experts thought that DeMarcus Robinson or Byron Pringle would be the first in line to step up for Sammy Watkins as the number 2 guy, based off, I guess, skill set and just a body type and just a difference, kind of the difference between Mecole Hardman and Sammy Watkins. But as they both did, also Pringle and DeMarcus Robinson did get the reps when Sammy Watkins was out last year. Those two assumed the role, and Hardman really didn't get to fill in for Sammy in that same position. So do you all think Mecole Hardman can replace Sammy Watkins and be that number 2 guy?
I mean, I'm not just going to go out there and say Sammy was an all-pro and gave us 1,000 yards. So, I mean, not to make it sound bad, You know, because he when he came into the game, he was impactful. You know, he made the necessary catches. He was in the right place. I don't think he fumbled much, if at all. A possession guy. Didn't miss very many. He was just one of those that was kind of fragile. Had a lot of injuries. I think Mecole is definitely good enough to come in and do that. But again, I said it's not like we're asking him to come out and get 1,000 yards for the season. You know, come out and average 100 yards or 10 catches or anything of that sort. So yeah, I think he has the tools and the talent to go out and be a good number 2. I'm pretty sure he's thinking he's wanting to build himself up to be a number 1 receiver to get a number 1 contract. So yeah, he's going to go out and give you all that he's got. But yeah, I think he's definitely worthy of it. You know, I think, and plus he's gotten the most playing time, I would say, because he's in on offense and special teams. So, you know, he's one of those that's well prepared for the season.
Could he be a number 2? Yes, he could. But here's a good thing about the offense, is because it's such a transitional offense, you have a lot of variety that I don't think you really have. And that's a good thing about it, is because you can put any of those guys as being number 2. You could put Robinson, Pringle, you know, Hardman coming in as being that second guy. And that's the good part about it, because they're switching guys in and out, so can he be number 2? Sure. Let's just say he can. Will that say he'll take a majority of the snaps over Robinson and Pringle? I don't think so. Like I said, I think because of what they can do offensively, and everybody has a skill set where they're somewhat similar, he'll get a lot of playing time. And I think, matter of fact, you even probably see the lineup change probably week in, week out. One week he'll be the starter. Next week it'll be Robinson, maybe Pringle. So I think, you know, it's a good problem to have. But we'll say he's a number 2, right? And he, like you made the point of, you know, he plays special teams. Will that take away from some of his play being out on the field as a starter? Yes, it will. Absolutely, because they want to be able to keep him fresh. You know, because he's got to take hits, you know, on the special team. So that may limit some of his snaps on offense. But I think, man, just the offense in itself is such, like I said, a transitional system that you could plug anybody in as number 2. So, it don't even matter to me if he's going to be second, or, you know, if you get Robinson or Pringle. Like I said,
yeah, JD, cool. I think you can go in there and be the number 2 receiver at this point. I mean, hey, get over before round 2. Yeah,
sure. Come on, I'll get in there for about 4 or 5 routes. So sometimes it's always good to get that and start by your name. You know, when you look at games started and missed, and you look,
yeah,
you know, so.
So I think, and one of the things I've been seeing is that a lot of Chief fans are just kind of skeptical if, let's say, Mecole Hardman is the one who does take over, kind of, you know, takes over what Sammy Watkins did, right, in the offense. He's that position. He is what Sammy Watkins was, whether it is Z or X receiver, whatever that was. Now, as far as a possession receiver, he's not really built like a possession receiver. He's not built like Sammy Watkins at all. So isn't it kind of hard to see him kind of, you know, just replace him in the offense if that is what they want to do?
Tariq Hill isn't built like a deep threat. You know, Tariq isn't built like a number 1 receiver, but he goes out and he makes the plays that we need him to make, or that he's known to make. You know, you can't. I guess we can't really say a person is a certain type of receiver because of their body size. You know, Odell Beckham isn't a big receiver. AB isn't a big receiver, but they make the plays that, you know, when the ball comes their way. And I think that Mecole has within himself. He's played receiver his whole entire life, so he knows what it takes. He's got the skill set. It's just a matter of him, you know, coming out and giving us his best for this season, and to you know, hopefully prove that he's worthy of holding down that spot for years to come. And like I said, you know, he's planning to get a big contract. You know, he's trying to get one of those contracts like Tariq and Kelsey have. So I definitely think he's got the skill set. It's just a matter of him coming out and proving it.
Yeah, it is. That's a fair point. And I think because sometimes we talk number two receiver, at least in my estimation, sometimes we think about traditional offenses, right? Because we look at size and what your matchup was. And so sometimes your split end was a little bit bigger. It was a kind of a bigger guy that you will look at, maybe 6'1", 6'2", possession receiver fits the mold of traditional offense. But this Chief offense is nothing traditional about them, because there's just a lot of movement. There's a lot of guys in different positions. And what they do is they just take advantage of defenses because it's all about matchups to them. So you'll see him on the inside, you see him on the outside. He's going in motion, for the reverse. So yeah, that's traditional. Yeah, the X is going to be, your top guy, 6 foot, quick, fast. Your split end is going to be a bigger guy, possession receiver. Then you're going to have the tight end. But like I said, man, everything's done changed. So in these guys, man, what makes them so dangerous is because of their skill set is their speed. Like he said, man, nobody thought Tyreek Hill was going to be a deep threat. You would think he's more like, the little guy inside moving around, which he is doing that. But he get out on deep, he's taking the top off the defense. Sure, ain't nobody going to get behind him. So that's about it, man. He just going to outrun everybody. So that's a good thing. And then, like I said, we got to talk about 15 back there. He's going to be able to get the ball to you. He don't care how big you are, how small you are. Look, he will get the ball to you when he needs to. And these guys are going to be able to get open. So that's what I love about the offense in itself, because guys have the freedom, to move around and kind of make plays. So you're not really stuck in a certain route. You can make adjustments. So, yeah.
Yep, it's what, I'm rooting for Mecole Hardman. I know he's got a lot of obviously we talk about Twitter and people, he's one of those guys that is easy to bag on, and that's been a lot of Chiefs fans have been doing that when it comes to him, because he hasn't really lived up to his second round expectations, as some would say. But this year he's, we didn't bring in another receiver. We drafted Cornell Powell late in the draft. It's all eyes are on him, and we're obviously Reed, obviously Veach expect a lot out of him this year. So I'm rooting for him.
We also had some bigger issues that we needed to address also. Offensive line was what we needed to hit.
Yep.
And so we needed to use those picks to beefing up that offensive line. And then that's still nothing to take away from what Mecole's done. I'm like Jason, what Jason's been saying throughout the year. Like, I think that our starting core or our wide receiver core is good enough to get it done for the season. As long as we have the protection up front for Mahomes to get the ball out, I'm good with what we have as a wide receiver core.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And look, we talked about this on the other show too. You're talking about putting in, 2 tight end packages, right? Double tight end. And then we talk about the ability for the backs coming out the backfield to catch the football as well. So I just think, man, we're kind of particular in the things that we're able to do offensively as opposed to other teams. And like you said, man, I love the room. I love when you open up the door in a room and you looking and you sit over and just looking at speed, playmaker. Man, that's a beautiful feeling. And then the first thing you do, open up the room, you start looking around like, oh shoot, like you gotta get somebody else in here. Coach, we gotta do something about this. So there ain't gonna be no problems as far as receiver-wise, tight end-wise, running backs on the Chiefs. We address the offensive line. We address the receivers, getting guys signed. I think we're going to be at a good place, man. I really do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm excited to have another guy with, because Watkins doesn't have the speed that Hardman does. And having that speed out there all game long with Tyreek and with Kelsey and with everything, all the gadgets we have. So, yeah, I think the offense might even go to a different level this year, even with this O-line and what we have. So I'm excited, man. All right, so next concern. So CBS this week listed from went team to team, like they did with the coaches last week. They went from team to team of the players that they think are the most important to the team's success. Obviously, when you think of the Chiefs, you think Mahomes right off the bat. But no, they didn't go with Mahomes. For the Chiefs, they listed Chris Jones as the biggest key to the team's success in this coming season. Then they went on to say Quote, if Jones thrives in his new role, that could bring a new dynamic to the Chiefs' front seven and make them that much more of a force in the AFC as they look to rebound from the Super Bowl loss last year. What do you all think about them listing
I
Chris
understand
Jones?
what they're trying to say, but I mean, get it correct. 15 is the most important part of our team. I don't care how you look at it or how you want to look at it. Patrick's the key piece to our team. Now, Chris will be an important part depending on how he plays this defensive end role, because it can be very big. Especially since we've added another piece on the defensive line to try to bulk up the inside. And going into it, we don't. Most teams aren't going to know if he's going to be in the middle or if he's going to come off the edge. And so that also gives us an advantage as to how Aaron Donald plays. It kind of takes the double team off when you get to move those big guys around. So I like the movement. It's just a matter of how well he plays it, how quick he comes off that edge. Now bull rush, I think he can bull rush most tight ends, and most tackles. Well, I won't say most tackles, but a lot of them to get to the quarterback. So it's a big move. It can work out in our favor. I really hope it does, for our sake as fans, and for the team, and for him also. But 15 still is the number one key piece of this team.
Oh yeah, no doubt about that. But if we just talking about Chris Jones himself and his ability, right? I mean, it really frees him up when you have Jerry Reed comes in, right, defensive tackle, and now you have Chris Jones, and that's a great point. Is because now he's one-on-one with the guy, as opposed to getting double teamed. Now he was getting pressures being double teamed and sometimes triple teamed. Now he's got just one joker to get past. Oh shoot, he's gonna eat somebody's lunch. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So I like that part of it. And if he's just able to collapse that pocket, and I'm just looking at the quarterbacks that hate things like that, right? You're talking about Baker Mayfield in week 1. You get that joke in the pocket, start collapsing on him. He's not that big, the walls start crashing in on him. You're going to take a whole lot away from him. And so Chris will just, he'll have that where part of, I think, what I've seen in the past from our defensive end play on the outside is maybe that integrity of holding up that end, right? That's been part of the problem, where maybe it just be against the run, or if like a guy's trying to, get on the pass, he's got such long arms, and like you said, he's so strong, he could, push a tackle back, come off of him shedding, and come off to make the play. So that's going to help out tremendously. And I know the secondary is going to appreciate it. They're going to appreciate it because they know every single time he's just going to come off, and he's getting one-on-one up there.
Yeah.
That's going to help out a whole lot. That's going to help out a whole lot, man. I'm excited to see him play this year. I hope he gets a lot of opportunities out there, defensive end. And who knows? Who knows, man? He might make Pro Bowl from defensive tackle to defensive end. You know what I mean? Which would be tremendous for him to go and do. I like to see something like that happen, right? Seeing a guy like that go from defensive tackle to defensive end and still make a Pro Bowl. It just shows how electric of a player he really is.
Now, because this is something he's been pushing for, this, like playing DN for years since he's been in the league. What's kind of like, what would be the general, like, I guess, coach's reason as to why they wouldn't want him to do this before this year? Why hasn't he played DN before in the NFL? What would be the reason behind that?
I mean, he's labeled as a tackle. Now, the only reason I can see him wanting to make that transition is because of the double teams. You look at Aaron Donald and what he's done. It's easy for the Rams to move him around because I don't care who you're playing, you have to double 99. Right. And I'm sure Chris has noticed the transition of what Aaron's done and sees himself as the same caliber of a player. So he's like, hey, let me do the same thing. I can add pressure coming off the edge. I can add pressure up the middle, but I'm not given that opportunity. And I don't want to take away from what we have at our defensive ends, at Frank Clark. I forget who we got on the other side.
Taco.
Yeah. But for him to be on the move like that, we all know, and I'm pretty sure those guys know, that Chris is our best interior lineman, hands down, year in, year out. So to have him be able to move around and to do the things that Aaron Donald has done, to show his talents, his speed, his strength. It helps him, and it also helps the defense. I mean, I kind of wish we had done it earlier instead of him having to bring it to the coaches to let them do it, because as we've seen with Aaron Donald, I hate to keep saying Aaron Donald, but he's the only guy that's played the position to go inside and outside that we can compare it to. So, yeah, I like it.
Well, I'll tell you this. I think part of the problem, or part of the reason they haven't done it before, is if you think about it, what a defensive tackle does is they keep everybody off the linebackers, right? So sometimes it's a correlation about how they play. So you have to have a stout guy on the inside. Defensive end, you got more of a skill set guy that can kind of get around, maybe smaller, skinnier. You just kind of getting that pass rush and the speed on the outside. You don't have to necessarily be a big guy. He just has to be effective. But if you're giving up that inside, that's the worst thing for a linebacker. Any great linebacker to tell you, and if you have any good linebackers, they will let you know that part of their success starts with the defensive line in front of them. Would you agree with that, E?
I mean, heck, that's part of our success on the back end.
Yeah, right. So that's why I think the ability to kind of get him out there, he was more needed inside because he was still effective inside. And you need a stout guy, like you said, Aaron Donald, you need a guy on the inside who's going to take double teams and absolutely cause havoc on the inside. So that's probably the reason. If you're a defensive end and you wreaking havoc, but you're giving up too much on the inside, you're affecting the defensive tackle, your linebackers, and the whole middleman is just wide open. So you don't want to do that. So I think that's the reason they moved him out there right now. So they got the young guy that we drafted. Hopefully he comes along. We don't know how Frank Clark's situation is going to work out. There's questions right now as far as defensive end is what they're going to do. But if they get some snaps out there, and I know he's not going to be out there all the time, it's going to help. It's going to help out the defense for sure.
Yeah, I will say Mahomes, and then with this possible Chris Jones move, which could take us to another level on defense, I do say Mahomes and Chris Jones are two keys to success this year. Would you guys agree with that? Mahomes, then Jones?
Yeah, absolutely.
On the same page here. All right, so our final topic tonight, we don't have a guest coming on. However, we do have a Chief Concern fan who messaged us and emailed us all the way from Nairobi, Kenya. His name's Dennis. And his concern that he has, he said he watched our show, loves our show, but he said there's one thing that he's been kind of, not triggered by, but there's one concern that he has is in our secondary, and he wanted to get your guys' take on it. He says, are you guys concerned as to how young and inexperienced the secondary unit will be this season without a veteran presence in Bashaud Breeland? And he's specifically talking about the cornerbacks, obviously not our safety standpoint with Matthew. But what is your take on the current cornerback unit that we have going into
all those guys have had some experience playing. So, but you can't really say that and not mention Matthew and so
right, Sorensen.
Yes, yeah. Because they're basically the captains of the secondary, and they're gonna make sure that these guys are up to speed at what they need to do, physically and mentally, and take control of the secondary. So youth doesn't really play into it for me. Because Ward's gotten a lot of playing time last year. I think he stepped up. Snead, all these guys are pretty good to me. And like I said, just with the play of the safeties alone, you can bring in two rookie guys, and I still be confident within the secondary.
Yeah, that is important because they do have some games under their belt. So young, you could be youthful and still have experience, and they've gotten that. So that's a good thing. But like E says, which is another great point, is you have Sorensen and you have Matthew back there. So you got a Pro Bowler who's going to put you in and make sure you're in the right place. You got two smart guys back there who's directing everybody what they need to do, what position you need to be in. And so they're going to communicate what it is that, hey, how you have to play. This is who we're looking at. And so they're going to teach them and I'm talking about film room, right? We're talking about on the field, all the communication. So when you have that, where that leadership is so key, I'm not really worried about the youth of it. You know, you got guys that's coming in who's played other places, right? Off injuries, but they got some games on their belt.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's not really, rookies, and that's a good thing because you're not really dealing with like rookie guys who just come from college, who's trying to adjust to the speed of the game. That's a whole different conversation, to get into. That's totally different. These guys, man, they've been in the fire, but shoot, those soldiers in the back, they're gonna make sure they're on point, man.
Exactly. I mean, even if you were to bring in rookies, I think that Matthew and Sorensen have had enough experience to know that, okay, I can cheat a little bit because I know what the defense is. I know this. I know my guy's weakness. I know his strengths. Mm-hmm. So I can cheat a little bit to help him out, or to even show face to pretend like I'm helping out here to give my guy a little bit of an advantage here. I just think that our two safeties have enough experience within themselves, especially being Pro Bowlers and the way that Sorensen came out and played last year with all the big plays that he made, to where the use of the corners just doesn't really bother me.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. So when did you feel like you adjusted to the speed of the game when you came in? How long did it take you?
Ooh, training camp.
Yeah, okay. So
I mean, because you got to understand, JD, my training camp was against Randy Moss every year.
That's right. Well, shoot. Yeah. And Chris Carter.
Yeah. So I had some dogs to go up against. Mm-hmm. And so it wasn't like I just had to say, I'm not ready. I haven't seen this before.
Yeah.
I don't know what to. Nah, I'm thrown in the fire day one.
Right. That's good. And I think I'm thankful for that, man, because that's all I had was just Hall of Famers in front of me my first year. Didn't really have, training camp, man, it was tough, but like every single week, it was like a Hall of Famer in front of me. Every single week. It was crazy. I'm just like, I don't know who gets baptized by fire like this, You know what I mean? Look, I'm gonna go through them real quick. Reggie White, Bruce Smith, Charles Mann, Charles Haley, Kevin Green, Greg Lloyd. This is what I had. This every week it was like it. Every week I'm like, oh Lord.
John Randall out there too.
John Randall, man, every week, every week. They were just coming. They kept coming. And all I could see was just, the films, the highlight films, back in the day, I used to do highlights. They used to have it real like, you see them like running in slow motion, making a play. That's how I could see in my head. But yeah, man, it's tough. But yeah, Randy Moss, Carter. Who's the other guy they had up there? It was
I want to say
Reed.
Hatchett.
Reed.
I know they had Hatchett for a while. And then later they brought in who's the guy that's working with NFL TV?
Nate Burleson.
Yep.
Yeah. They had Jake Reed too. Jake Reed was up there. You remember Jake Reed?
Jake Reed, yes, that's Dale Carter's brother. So Jake was on the outs when I got there.
Okay.
He was there for the first year. And then it took over, it was Chris Carter and Randy Moss.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you had to be.
His name was Matthew Hatchett.
Matthew Hatchett. I don't remember him.
Yeah, he was. I think he was the third receiver.
Okay.
What year did Marcus Robinson get there?
Not sure.
They still had, just years. Spanning from years from the Dante Culpepper years, they had led a lot of good weapons.
They had a lot of weapons.
Oh, yeah, they did.
Yeah.
I mean, they had the main. They had the main weapon.
Yeah. Weapon X.
Yeah. It deer looked like a deer running through it. Shoot. And that Hatchet guy, that sounded like he was in the 3-point stands running in out there wide receiver. I ain't never heard that. I don't know why.
It was funny covering him because he always had us. He's got this accent that's funnier than anything, and everything that comes out of his mouth is like a joke. He's got a conversation that every time he's lining up, and yet if the ball is coming his way, you won't hear anything. But for the most part, Randy will have a conversation anytime he lines up in front of you.
Wow. Well, what would Randy say? What's some of the stuff he would say, man?
So I was basically known as a physical corner, and he knew that because of training camp. And I remember the game that we played him, and it was always, "Come on, 44, don't be putting your hands on me now, 44. It's a run. It's a run play. They didn't come in your way." And so I'm like, "Man, you think I'm about to believe this here?" And all of a sudden, they go the other way. So he could say he hit me with it. Oh, so now you believe me, huh? He said that if they're gonna throw the ball to me, they're gonna throw the ball to me. But I'm gonna let you know if it's a run play, don't be putting your hands on me, 44. I got you.
Now, as far as like, cause I mean, back in those days it was T.O. And Randy Moss. Did you ever go up against T.O.?
I did.
Was he like a trash talker, or was he more like?
No.
Like,
the only other guy that I played against that talked trash was Ocho Cinco. But again, my game against those guys, those the big name guys, they didn't really do much against me. The only guy that's a Hall of Famer right now that got the best of me was Marvin Harrison. Now, a lot of smaller name, short career guys have come out and made some plays against me. And that's kind of where I keep, explaining to people, like, that's how I've always, like, they say they lull you to sleep.
Yeah.
Because you always think that the ball's not coming their way because it's like somebody that's not really big time for the team.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a ball just pops up. And so you just get caught slipping. But when you play against guys like Randy or Chad Johnson and Terrell Owens, and you tuned in, yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, don't feel bad about Marvin, man. He's got a lot of people on his list.
Yeah, I know that.
So don't feel bad. Shoot, it happens. It happens to the best of us. That's just how it works.
Now, one last thing about our secondary, and this is something because you talk about your training camp experiences going against the Minnesota Vikings. Now, with our young corners going against Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes every day, I mean that's gotta. Does that also help also with getting like kind of introduced to the league? Not introduced to the league, but like
Oh, it does, because so my explanation when we talk about my college years, the best team that I ever played up against in college, I saw every day at practice was our offense. Even though we knew what our offense was running almost every play, because we were just an option team. But you got some of the hardest hits, you got some of the most aggressive play, and some of the most intense moments at practice. And when you go out to play a game, it's basically some of those games, because we were such a good team in college. Some of those games were like walk through, not much of a challenge. And I'm not trying to put those teams down or those players down, but you go up against our offense back in those days, you got to bring your lunch. Yeah. Bring your lunch and a pillow.
Yeah, but I mean, shoot, because you think about it, you're going against the best offense every single day, right? The best receiver. And so when you come into a game and you watch Gumshoe Joe walk out here, you're like, oh man, shoot, I've had Tyreek all week. All week I had him. Joker out here running, he can't run to save his life. Shoot, it's gonna be easy for me this week. So so that is an advantage to see those guys every single day. And they're competing. They're competing because they just want to be great. So when you think about it, safeties, linebackers, you're going against Kelsey. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, it's just week in, week out, every single day you're seeing these guys at practice. So that's a plus. Yeah, definitely an advantage.
Yeah.
I mean, who you gonna be scared of? Who you gonna line up? You gonna be scared of? To be honest, I mean, nobody. Shoot.
You got the fastest guy in the league. You got the best tight end in the league. So.
Right.
And the best quarterback. So there it is.
No excuses. And I think another thing that people don't talk about much is, and Eric, you can kind of speak to this, is now we talk about Sorensen, we talk about Matthew, but we also have Juan Thornhill and Rashad Fenton. Two guys who are always involved all over the field, really. Every time Rashad Fenton's in the game, he's all over the ball. I mean, I think that just kind of adds to the fact that we have 4 safeties that we can put out there at any given moment. If Fenton can play cornerback too, if Fenton's all over the field. I love Rashad Fenton. I think he's one of my most underrated players we have in our secondary.
I think overall, I just think we have a good crew. As I said earlier, just having Sorensen and Matthew alone adds so much what do you call that? Seasonal, I guess, play, because these guys have so much experience that they bring. And, Tyron being one of the top safeties in the league for the last few years, it takes that fear away from me to say that, we're a young, unexperienced secondary. Because right now, all the guys that we have played, and they played well. And I think that they have what it takes to get it done.
I think, man, the best way to sum it up, man, is we've gotten better offensively and defensively. We just got a much better team than what we've had in the past, And it's not taken away from the guys that has left. I just think just the core, like you said, the core unit of guys where they at and where they play have gotten better. And I'm just, another year, guys are playing, offensively, got better offensive linemen, so it's going to make your receivers and everything else better. Defensive lineman comes in, it's going to make your secondary better. So I think it's just you've just increased. You've just gotten a better team total.
I agree.
Yeah. And looking forward to Mike Hughes and DeAndre Baker, 2 former first-round picks who haven't really gotten to play much because of injuries. And this year, hopefully, they can get on the field and we can see if they do play up to their first-round potential that they had. So, and two other ones in there who could, potentially do big things for us on the defense. So, yeah, looking forward to it on both sides of the ball. All right, guys. Well, that does it for us for Chief Concerns, presented by BetOnline. As always, if anyone has any concerns for these two, please tweet at us at @ConcernsChief or email us at chiefconcerns@yahoo.com. You can listen to our podcast on Believe Podcast Network, Apple, anywhere you can find a podcast, or our YouTube channel at Chief Concerns. We'll see you next week. We're going to have a couple guests on next week, and we're looking forward to that, to hear some of the Chiefs Kingdom. So,
Good night, gents.
Have a good one, guys.
Y'all be good.